Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to be looking at the best dividend stocks to add to your portfolio. I'm really interested in actually building myself a dividend portfolio, so this is what I'm going to be structuring it as. So the number one stock here on my list is Realty Income Corporation. If you don't know what they are, they actually handle a lot of the big companies around the country's real estate. In fact, they handle malls, they handle many large companies. So go ahead and look them up on the New York Stock Exchange. They are an impressive company based out of San Diego, California. And the reason I have picked this as one of my number one stocks is because they actually pay monthly dividends. If we actually come and look at this, we can see that the annual payout per share is $3.22 and the dividend yield is 5.69%. And we do have a dividend growth of actually 2.78% year over year, which is nice. The dividends has continued to increase as time has gone on. So we can see here on the payout history that we can see all of the dates that they have paid out on it. And what's really nice about this website, I'm using Snowball Analytics. We can actually come down here and to see where the highest amounts of payout were. So we can look at the 10-year right here, obviously all the way back to 2015, but I actually want to talk about all the way back to the 90s. We can see this has continued to increase year over year. Quite impressive, and I would recommend adding this to your portfolio because we can see the amount has continued to go up year over year over year. And what's really impressive is that 2021, the year after we came out of the COVID pandemic, look at that. One share paid $4 and basically, I would say almost $5 if you want to round it off. It's actually impressive because the price of the share is actually not that expensive. We want to come back up here. We can actually see the value of the actual share has been continued to increase year over year over year. So we're sitting at right now $56.61 a share. We can actually look year to date and where it's been performing. So it's been performing pretty good. We're in the positive versus the S&P right now, which we are actually in the negative, which is unfortunate. We can look at the 1 year, we can look at the 5 year, and then we can look at all. So it's quite an impressive company to go ahead and buy some shares into. You can read a little bit about what this company does down here. I wanted to share this with you because I think it is a key aspect to building a portfolio, especially a dividend portfolio. It's continuing to price appreciate and the amount of dividends paid per share has continued to increase year over year. So that is the first stock. Let's jump on to the next one. My next stock here is actually going to be Pfizer, and they are another great company to invest in for dividends specifically. We can look at the overall price history where it has been since the 1980s. We can see that it has continued to increase. We can see during obviously the recession of 2008 and 2009, it took a dive. It was hurt. Every company was hurt pretty much in the stock market, but we have continued to climb and climb and climb out of that. And as we remember, Pfizer was one of the big companies that was actually providing a lot of the vaccines during the COVID pandemic. And we can see their price per share shot up to $59.05 back in 2021. We can see going down here, the price has actually been dropping, but that's for some other reasons. But anyway, let's get into the dividends. So the dividends is what the important part is. Our dividend yield is at 6.82% and the annual payout per share is $1.72. I think that's impressive. And look how affordable these shares are right now, $25.21. And we can see the history of the payout. It has continued to go up. And let's go out to payout history because it's my favorite to see where the amount of money is going. So we can see that since the 80s, it has been continuing to increase. So 2008, right? We had the financial crisis, which crashed the stock market, and this company actually still continued to pay a dividend during that. We can see that it took a kind of a nosedive, I guess, if you want to say that, for a few years, but till this very point, even in 2024, they have continued to pay out $1.68 a share. And then the previous year, $1.64, $1.60. So it has been continuing to increase. And if time will tell, we'll see. So far, we are at 43 cents for 2025. We can look at the dividend yield here, and I always like to look at all because I think this is the most accurate picture when looking at how is this dividend actually growing. And we can see again the high point right there, right, was in 2009. That was in February, actually 28th, 2009 at 10.41%. Quite impressive for that. And then we can actually see the amounts that it was paying out. We can see it was around 43 cents, and we can go back all the way to the very beginning on page 5 or 6 if we want to see exactly that amount. I think it's another good one to add to your portfolio. Let's move on to the next dividend stock now. My next stock here is actually another corporation that deals with retail. So the reason I'm picking retail for these is because retail is always going to be there. We're always going to need to go in and buy something. You know, malls, stores, public areas, people always are going to be going to that. So I like this company for that. They're actually managing quite a bit of properties. We can see actually down here that their portfolio consists of 2,271 properties and it's located in 49 states. Now we can see the price per share has continued to increase as time has gone on. Now let's go to the dividends. This is paying every single month. That's all we're covering on this. So the dividend yield on this is 3.96%. Per share, we're getting $3.04. I think that's an impressive annual payout for one share. The price per share is a little on the pricey end, but I understand why. We have a solid dividend growth. We can see on the 5-year basis, it's 4.77% and it's continuing to grow. So let's go to the very bottom here and look at the payout history, which again is my favorite. I like to look at all because I like to see since the very beginning, where has this gone? So we can see, remember 2008, right? We had the recession, we had the financial burdens on everyone, we had the bad loans, and this company continued to pay a dividend. Now, obviously it went down in 2011. You can actually go to see what that amount was. So it was at $1.71 versus the $2.04. It's not that much of a decline. And again, in 2021, that was the highest at almost $3 per share. Quite impressive. And then we can see last year, again, almost $3. We can see this has been actually producing quite well. And so far for this year, we are at, let's round this off, 76 cents per share. And then we can go to the yield down here, and I look at all because this gives us the true aspect of it. We can see it has continued to kind of just, basically trade sideways. It's another stock I like. I think it's good to add to your portfolio. Another foundational company to add. It's in realty, it's stable, and it pays a dividend income. So let's move on to the next stock now. My next stock, again, is more properties, real estate, commercial real estate. We can see that this company has continued to price appreciate over the years. We can see the prices continue to go up since the 90s. Right now we're sitting at $51.70, and we can see at the high points we were at around $64. That was back before the Great Recession, and we can see it did suffer during that. Unfortunately, the price did go down, but then it rebounded and we have had some bumps in the roads. But the dividends is what's most important here. We're sitting at a dividend yield of 6.83%. An annual payout is $3.53, which is not bad. And again, look at that growth over 5 years, 18.53%. That is quite impressive. And we can come down here to the payout history. We can see the amount, and let's look at all. So we can see since the very beginning, it has continued to go up. Now, what is a little concerning to me on this one, and this is one that I wouldn't say 100% sure on, the amount has actually dropped quite significantly in 2021. Now, remember with the previous companies, right? They were actually increasing. So what actually happened here? I'm not entirely sure, but I would do your research on this. The reason that I had picked this out was because of the dividend yield. Now, like they say, we shouldn't always be chasing these yields, right? But I still think it's a safe company to invest in. I would look more into this. Remember, it's not financial advice. This is just for entertainment, but I think it's something to look at. So go ahead and check this company out. See if you like it. See if you think it's a good investment. And we're going to move on to the next stock right now. My next company to look at is another real estate company. The reason I'm picking them is because they are a solid growth company, and it's more in commercial real estate because people always need places to do business. We can see the prices continue to increase, and it has not disappointed. Even during, that slump during the COVID pandemic, it's still rebounded quite nicely. Let's look at this dividends. So what I like, again, these are paying monthly, right? Monthly stocks. That's what I'm looking for. Dividend yield is right now at 4.19%. That annual payout is $1.49. The growth is not as impressive, unfortunately, because it hasn't been around that long. We're not even to 1%, but still, I like the payout amounts. We can see what this has been generating, and we can look at the payout history. And based on this payout history, we can see that it has continued to basically stay almost exactly the same, if not by a couple of cents. And that's why I like real estate companies, because it's predictable income that we can have every single month. And what's nice is that these are price appreciating, these stocks, versus ETFs like YMAX or even some of the other popular ones like QDTE. They're actually having NAV erosion, versus these specific stocks, we are price appreciating, which is nice. So you're not losing money and you're still getting paid monthly dividends. Go ahead and look at this company a little closer, and you can always view this website on your own. I'll leave the link to Snowball Analytics down in the description. And as always, thank you for supporting the channel. Let me know if you have any more questions, and I'll see you in the next one.